Hello from Mindset Daily, wishing you a day full of health, peace, and happiness. Thank you for watching the Mindset Daily channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe to support us. Thank you so much.
Have you ever noticed how most people quit just before their breakthrough? What if the moment you're in right now isn't the end, but the test that defines your legacy? And what if the voice telling you to give up is the very enemy standing between you and greatness? Most people walk away when the pressure rises, but you're not most people. Inside you is a fire that refuses to die quietly. This moment isn't punishment. It's preparation. It's the difference between regret and resilience, between giving up and going all in. If you endure what others escape, you unlock a strength most will never touch. So ask yourself, will you surrender to the weight, or rise and prove your dream is worth everything? The shift in mindset you're about to discover can pull you through the storm at the very moment quitting feels easiest. Because that voice whispering give up, it may sound familiar, even rational, but it's not truth. It's fear. It's the ghost of your old self clinging to comfort. You weren't born to shrink in hard times. You were built to rise in them. Every battle you face is shaping your destiny. Without resistance, there's no growth. You must train your mind to see pressure not as punishment, but as preparation. Champions go where others stop. They push when others pause. That is the cost of mastery. George Washington endured betrayal and brutal winters, yet he marched on. Thomas Edison faced 10,000 failures, but lit up the world. Their struggles weren't separate from success. They were the very foundation of it. And now, the question is yours. What future are you fighting for? What story will your perseverance write? When the weight feels unbearable, remember this. Quitting doesn't lift the burden, it multiplies regret. The relief of surrender fades fast, but the ache of what if lasts forever. That is the heaviest load of all. The human spirit is astonishingly resilient. You've survived storms before. You've been knocked down and risen again. You've faced impossible odds before and found a way through. You will outlast this one too. Discomfort is the price of transformation. Just as the butterfly must fight the cocoon to strengthen its wings, your struggles are shaping your capacity to fly. Without resistance, there is no lift. In your darkest moments, listen past the voice of doubt. Beneath it lies a deeper truth. You carry untapped reservoirs of strength. Each time you choose perseverance over surrender, you draw from that power. The world rewards persistence. History remembers those who refuse to break. Your greatest contributions won't come from moments of ease, but from seasons of endurance. Stand firm when everything inside you trembles. Move forward when retreat feels logical. Speak courage when fear shouts the loudest. This is how legends are born, not in comfort, but in conquest. Resilience is not just about surviving today's battle. It's about becoming the light that inspires others facing storms of their own. Your example becomes a beacon, guiding others through their darkest hours. The path ahead will not be easy, but nothing worthwhile ever is. Keep moving. Victory is not only about reaching the destination, but about becoming the person strong enough to stand there. Success does not belong to those who wish, it belongs to those who endure. Success comes to those willing to endure discomfort, to keep moving when emotions scream stop, and to stand firm even when the path is unclear. The most dangerous moment isn't when everything falls apart, but when your belief in yourself begins to crack. That's when you must choose. Will you be ruled by feelings or fueled by faith? Real progress is born in silence. It happens in those quiet moments when no one is watching, and you decide to take one more step. That single step, repeated with discipline, forms a habit. That habit becomes a lifestyle, and over time, that lifestyle shapes your destiny. Think of Abraham Lincoln, who endured political defeat, personal tragedy, and deep depression, yet still led a nation through its darkest hour. He wasn't lucky. He was relentless. Can you be? Your potential isn't buried in the past. It's ignited by persistence. The question isn't, can you succeed? The real question is, will you keep going long enough to find out? Every moment of perseverance moves you closer to the life you were meant for. The world is filled with talented people who never reached their potential because they surrendered too soon. Talent without tenacity is like an unlit match, full of possibility, but missing the friction to spark fire. That friction comes from resistance, from choosing progress over comfort. What separates the ordinary from the extraordinary isn't natural ability. It's supernatural resolve, the willingness to stand alone when needed, to believe when evidence is scarce, and to continue when others call it foolish. Your greatest breakthroughs often sit just beyond your breaking point. Few ever find them, because most retreat when the pressure rises. Be aware that pressure itself is shaping you into someone capable of carrying greater weight. Think of the diamond, formed deep beneath the earth under crushing force. No comfort, no shortcuts, no escape. Yet pressure doesn't destroy carbon. It transforms it into something rare and unbreakable. Your struggles are not punishment, they are preparation. Obstacles aren't placed to block you, but to lift your vision. What feels like resistance may actually be redirection towards something greater than you planned. The road to mastery in any pursuit is marked by doubt, stagnation, and setbacks. These are not signals to quit, but invitations to deeper commitment. The amateur walks away when progress slows. The professional understands that slow progress is the foundation for future breakthroughs. Your mindset decides whether difficulties weaken you or forge you. View them as proof of inadequacy, and you retreat. View them as chances for growth, and you advance. Same struggle, different perspective, completely different result. Persistence is more than endurance. It is endurance with vision, with conviction that your effort matters. It means honoring your future self by refusing to trade what you want most for what you want now. The world makes way for those who refuse to be denied, not because it is kind, but because persistence creates an unstoppable force. Character forged in fire commands respect and opens doors where none existed. Your journey may stretch longer and harder than expected, but the person you become along the way, tested, refined, proven, will be wiser and stronger than you ever imagined. And that version of you is worth every step. The most dangerous moment isn't when everything falls apart, but when your belief in yourself begins to crumble. That's when the choice appears. Will you be ruled by feelings or fueled by faith? True progress is born in silence, in those unseen moments when no one is watching and you take just one more step. Repeated with discipline, that step becomes a habit. That habit becomes a lifestyle, and that lifestyle shapes your destiny. Think of Abraham Lincoln, facing defeat after defeat, personal tragedy, and deep depression, yet still leading a nation through its darkest hour. He wasn't lucky. He was relentless. Can you be the same? Your potential isn't buried in your past. It's ignited by persistence. The question isn't can you succeed? The real question is, will you endure long enough to discover it? Every act of perseverance moves you closer to the life you're meant to live. The world is full of talented people who never reached their potential because they surrendered too soon. Talent without tenacity is like an unlit match, full of promise, but without the friction to create fire. That friction comes from pushing against resistance, from choosing progress over comfort. What separates the ordinary from the extraordinary isn't natural ability, but supernatural resolve. It's the willingness to stand alone when necessary, to believe when proof is scarce, and to keep going when others call it foolish. Your greatest breakthroughs often wait just beyond your breaking point. Few experience them, because most retreat when the pressure rises, unaware that pressure itself is shaping them into someone capable of carrying far greater weight. Like a diamond, forged deep beneath the earth under crushing force, transformed into unmatched strength and value. No comfort, no shortcuts, no escape from the crushing weight above. Yet this pressure doesn't destroy the carbon. It transforms it into something of incomparable strength and value. Your struggles are not punishment, they are preparation. Your obstacles are not meant to block your path, but to elevate your perspective. What feels like resistance is often redirection towards something greater than you planned. The path to mastery in any field is paved with doubt, stagnation, and setbacks. These are not signals to quit. They are invitations to deepen your commitment. The amateur gives up when progress slows. The professional understands that slow progress is the foundation of every breakthrough. Your mindset decides whether challenges break you or build you. See them as proof of inadequacy, and you'll retreat. See them as opportunities for growth, and you'll advance. The same circumstance, but a different perspective, creates a completely different outcome. Persistence isn't just about holding on. It's about holding on with vision, with purpose, with the unshakable conviction that your effort matters. It's honoring your future self by refusing to trade what you want most for what you want now. The world eventually makes way for those who refuse to be denied their destiny. Not because the world is kind, but because persistence creates unstoppable character. It forges a presence that commands respect and clears paths where none existed before. Your journey may be longer and harder than you expected, but the person you become along the way will be stronger, wiser, and far greater than you ever imagined. That tested, proven version of yourself is worth every step. Quitting may feel easy, but it carries the highest cost: your dream, your confidence, your very identity. Once you surrender to fear, it becomes easier to quit again and harder to rise back up. That's why so many drift through life, convinced others are lucky, when in truth, success was just one more try away. Don't fall for that trap. You weren't made to quit, you were made to conquer. Inside you burns the same fire that carried every ancestor who refused to back down. Don't let comfort smother it. The truth is, growth and comfort cannot coexist. You either rise or retreat. Winston Churchill, once dismissed, scorned, and nearly broken by failure, still stood before a wounded nation with unshakable courage. Never give in. And he didn't. Neither should you. Because when everything screams it's over, that's often the very moment your breakthrough begins to take shape. So dig in, breathe deep, and take the next step. Not because it's easy, but because you promised yourself you would. That promise is sacred. Keep it. The human spirit is built to endure, to adapt, to carve a way forward when none seems possible. This resilience isn't for a chosen few. It's your birthright. But like any inheritance, it must be claimed. Stand and declare that your story will not end in surrender. Your greatest opponent isn't out there. It's the inner voice whispering excuses and inventing reasons to retreat. Silence it. Replace it with an unshakable commitment to your highest vision. What sets history's giants apart from the forgotten is not talent or luck, it's tenacity. It's the will to face one more day, to endure one more storm, to try one more solution even after countless failures. Pain is temporary. Regret is permanent. The discomfort of persistence is nothing compared to the agony of knowing you gave up on yourself. That wound never fully heals. Remember this. Every master was once a disaster. Every expert was once a beginner. The only difference? They refused to let early failures define their final outcome. They knew that falling isn't failing, but quitting is. Right now, your legacy is being written in how you respond to adversity. Will future generations speak of your courage or of your surrender? That choice is made daily, in moments when no one is watching but you. Stand firm, hold fast, press on. Not because victory is promised, but because surrender guarantees defeat. You are more capable than you realize, more resilient than you believe, and closer to your breakthrough than you can imagine. Keep the sacred promise. To yourself, to your dream, to your destiny. Every story of greatness you admire began at the edge of despair. Victory does not belong to the most talented. It belongs to the most committed. The person who refuses to quit is far more dangerous than the one who knows every trick. Consistency outlasts talent. Grit outruns genius. Jack Dempsey, born poor, hungry, and forced to sleep in railcars while working in mines, still rose to become heavyweight champion of the world. How? He fought when he was tired. He trained when he was broke. He believed when no one else did. Can you? The question isn't if the road is hard. It is. The real question is, will you keep walking anyway? You don't need perfection to win. You need persistence. Don't envy success. Earn it. Build it. Fight for it. Every drop of sweat is a seed of future greatness. And when the voices whisper, "This is too much," you shout back, "I am more than enough." History doesn't remember the gifted who surrendered. It honors the determined who persevered. The landscape of achievement is littered with brilliant individuals who lacked staying power. Meanwhile, it is often the seemingly ordinary people, the ones who refuse to yield, who shape the world through sheer force of will. Your darkest moments are not signals to retreat. They are invitations to discover strength you never knew you had. When you feel closest to quitting, you're standing at the threshold of transformation. One more step, one more day, one more attempt. This is where character is forged and destiny is shaped. What separates the champion from the challenger? It isn't raw talent, it's resilience under pressure. Anyone can perform when conditions are easy, but the truly great rise when circumstances are most hostile to their success. They've trained themselves to thrive where others only survive. Diamonds are not formed in gentle conditions, but under crushing pressure. That same force which seems to threaten destruction is what creates immeasurable value. Your challenges aren't breaking you. They are shaping you into something extraordinary. Most people overestimate what they can achieve in a day, yet underestimate what a year of steady effort can bring. Small actions, repeated with conviction, build unstoppable momentum. This is the hidden power of persistence. It compounds over time while talent alone fades. When rejection comes, remember every no moves you closer to a yes. When failure strikes, see it as feedback, not finality. When exhaustion tempts you to surrender, understand that breakthroughs often wait just beyond the breaking point. The path to mastery is never straight. It winds through valleys of disappointment and plateaus of stagnation. These are not detours. They are the journey itself. Every obstacle you face and overcome becomes a foundation stone in the monument of your achievement. And make no mistake, your resolve will be tested again and again. That's not a possibility, it's a certainty. The universe seems designed to challenge those bold enough to pursue greatness. But these trials are not meant to defeat you. These trials are not designed to defeat you. They are meant to reveal you, stripping away everything that isn't essential to your purpose. Don't be lured by shortcuts or quick fixes. The greatest accomplishments demand persistence, patience, and unshakable determination. What comes easily often vanishes quickly, but what is earned through struggle becomes yours forever. When others see impossible odds, train yourself to see unprecedented opportunity. When common sense says retreat, let uncommon courage move you forward. The extraordinary life belongs only to those who refuse ordinary limits. Your greatest power isn't talent, intelligence, or luck. It's the ability to keep going when everything around you says stop. Harness this power, and nothing will stand in your way. There's a version of you already equipped to win. You just haven't met them yet. But you will, if you refuse to quit. Inside every obstacle lies a hidden gift, wrapped in resistance. Most only notice the pain, but you see the prize. You're different. You've chosen to see struggle not as an enemy, but as the very path. You've decided fear will not be your master. It will be your motivator. Imagine if Wilma Rudolph, told she would never walk again, had listened. She didn't. She trained, she believed, and became the fastest woman on earth. That is the power of not quitting. The reward may not appear today, but it is coming. Brick by brick, day by day, you are building something no one can take from you, an unshakable belief in yourself. So ask, will you look back on this moment with pride or with regret? The choice is yours. Stay in the fight. Your breakthrough is not behind you. It's just one more step ahead. The question is, will you meet it? The most powerful version of yourself lives on the other side of persistence. This is the self that has endured storms, faced rejection, carried pain, and grown stronger through it all. That future self isn't a fantasy. It's inevitable if you refuse to quit. What separates extraordinary achievements from abandoned dreams isn't luck or circumstance. It's the willingness to keep going when everything says stop. The universe tests your resolve with resistance, and each time you push forward, you prove yourself worthy of the prize you seek. Think of gold refined by fire. The heat strips away impurities, revealing its true value. Without that process, it remains common. Your challenges work the same way. They're not destroying your potential. They're refining it, preparing you for greatness. Progress rarely moves in a straight line. Most people get discouraged when growth slows. Not realizing transformation often comes in bursts. Long seasons of quiet effort followed by sudden breakthrough. The seeds you plant in hard soil today will one day erupt with unexpected strength. Yet your mind will try to trick you, turning fear into false evidence, discomfort into danger, and temporary setbacks into permanent verdicts. None of it is truth. It's outdated survival instinct, not reality. The difference between those who achieve greatness and those who nearly do is found in moments like this, when logic says surrender, but faith demands persistence. The choices you make in these moments shape your destiny. You already have what you need to prevail. It isn't about collecting more. It's about unlocking the courage, resilience, and strength already inside you. What perseverance builds isn't just external success. It forges the very character capable of carrying it. It's internal architecture. You're building unshakable confidence that no future challenge can easily dismantle. This is the hidden reward of hardship. Difficulty develops strengths that serve every part of your life. Remember, history's greatest figures were not spared from struggle. They were defined by how they responded to it. Their greatness wasn't handed to them. It was forged in crucibles just like yours. They refused to let temporary pain derail permanent purpose. Your journey isn't about avoiding obstacles. It's about becoming the kind of person who transforms them into opportunities. Not because it's easy, but because you've chosen growth over comfort, becoming over avoiding. So stand firm when everything inside you screams retreat. Move forward when logic says pause. Believe when evidence whispers doubt. That's not foolishness. It's faith in the version of yourself waiting on the other side of persistence. Your breakthrough isn't some distant dream. It's an imminent reality, if you take one more step. The crucible of growth often disguises itself as a reason to stop, but in truth, it's the signal to grow. The moment it hurts is the moment you begin to evolve. Too many confuse discomfort with danger and run back to the familiar. But real growth lives outside the familiar, in the struggle, the confusion, the moments of uncertainty. That's where your true strength is tested. Nothing extraordinary is born in ease. What sets winners apart? They don't panic under pressure. They trust it. They let pressure mold them. You begin by standing firm when everything in you wants to flee. Endurance is built not by running from resistance, but by running through it. You train your mind to hold faith longer than fear. Florence Nightingale transformed nursing, not in comfort, but in chaos. She stepped into war zones and created order where none existed. She had every reason to quit, yet purpose silenced panic. In your own life, the choice is the same: ease now or excellence later. You cannot have both. Every ache in your soul is shaping something sacred. Don't run, rise. Human instinct seeks self-preservation, avoiding pain at all costs. But that instinct, while protective, often blocks the transformation your spirit longs for. Your greatest evolution happens when you override that ancient programming and choose advancement over avoidance. Hardship is often opportunity in disguise. The resistance you feel at the edge of your limits isn't the enemy, it's the teacher. It shows where strength must grow, where character must be tested, where wisdom must be earned. Without resistance, potential stays dormant, untested, and unrealized. Think of how muscles develop, not through ease, but through deliberate stress. The tiny tears formed in exertion don't weaken muscle. They trigger it to rebuild stronger. Your challenges do the same, creating temporary wounds that heal into lasting power. Society loves to celebrate achievement, but rarely acknowledges the pain that precedes it. Behind every triumph stands a mountain of discomfort willingly endured. Applause comes only after anguish. Recognition follows rejection. Breakthroughs rise from breakdowns. And most people abandon the path just as transformation begins, when discomfort intensifies, when doubt grows, when progress feels impossible. Too many misinterpret these symptoms, not as signs of a breakthrough, but as proof of failure. That mistake costs them everything. Your ability to withstand pressure determines your ability to achieve greatness. Not because suffering is virtuous, but because enduring it for a worthy cause is the foundation of meaningful achievement. This is the price of admission to an extraordinary life. When you feel closest to surrender, you're standing at the threshold of something magnificent. The universe isn't testing you to break you, it's preparing you. Every challenge you overcome expands your strength and broadens your vision of what's possible. True courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the choice to act because something matters more than fear. It's moving forward when every emotion screams retreat, when logic insists you quit, when voices around you say it can't be done. That isn't reckless, it's revolutionary. What feels unbearable today will feel manageable tomorrow, and one day it becomes the very foundation of your strength. This is how resilience is built, not by avoiding difficulty, but by moving through it with purpose and presence. You weren't created for comfort, but for growth. The spirit thrives not in ease, but in challenge. When you embrace this truth, pain loses its power to paralyze and becomes a partner in transformation. So stand in the fire. Let it forge you, not consume you. Trust the process that feels like it's breaking you. It's shaping you. This is more than endurance. This is evolution. Your greatest self waits on the other side of this crucible. And remember, the urge to quit often comes dressed in logic, whispering reasons, justifications, and clever excuses. But logic born from fear is never wisdom. It's a trap. When you catch yourself rationalizing why you should stop, that's the very moment you must push forward. Breakthrough always hides behind resistance, and most never reach it because they listen to the wrong voice. Victory comes when you master your inner dialogue, when truth speaks louder than doubt. You must become your own encourager when no one else claps. Discipline isn't built on feelings, it's forged in decisions. You define your identity by how you respond to difficulty. Theodore Roosevelt faced illness, loss, and betrayal, yet his creed was clear. Be the man in the arena, the one who dares greatly. He didn't live from the sidelines, and neither should you. Stop negotiating with fear. Stop justifying delay. Declare war on excuses. The future you desire is waiting. Will you show up? The mind is both your greatest ally and your fiercest opponent. It gives you the vision that inspires, but also the doubt that paralyzes. The real battle for achievement is fought first in the private chambers of your thoughts. Your brain, wired for survival, crafts convincing reasons to retreat, conserve energy, or avoid risk. These stories sound rational, even wise. You've done enough. This isn't working. Others would understand if you stopped. But beneath them lies outdated programming, designed to protect, not to help you thrive. What seems like reason is often fear in disguise. The voice that lists every possible failure isn't shielding you, it's shackling you. True wisdom acknowledges difficulty, but presses forward anyway. False wisdom turns difficulty into justification for surrender. The greatest deception isn't that success is impossible, but that quitting will somehow make life easier. It rarely does. What follows abandoned goals isn't relief, it's regret. Not peace, but the persistent sting of disappointment in yourself. Every great achievement in history was born from moments when pressing on seemed foolish. The Wright brothers faced countless failed attempts before flight. Edison endured thousands of non-working designs before he lit the world. Their greatness wasn't found in avoiding failure, but in refusing to accept it as final. You must learn to distinguish between productive discomfort and destruction. Productive discomfort, the strain of growth, the uncertainty of new territory, the awkwardness of learning, always leads to expansion. This isn't the pain to avoid, it's the price to embrace. When the voice of surrender grows loud, fight back with questions. Who will I become if I quit now? What message will I send myself about my capacity to endure? How will this decision shape my identity moving forward? These questions shift the focus from temporary relief to permanent character. Courage isn't a personality trait. It's a choice made again and again in moments of doubt. It's the decision to honor your highest ambitions rather than your immediate comfort. Consistently making this choice transforms not only your circumstances, but your very character. The world is full of brilliant individuals who never reached their potential because they abandoned ship just when resistance was at its fiercest. Don't join their ranks. Understand this. The storm isn't trying to stop you. It's revealing what you're made of. Your finest moments won't be when everything aligns perfectly, but when nothing does, when logic argues for retreat, when others fail to understand your persistence, and yet you press on. These are the decisions that shape destiny. Fear often disguises itself as reason, presenting persuasive evidence for surrender, compelling arguments for delay. Recognize these thoughts not as truth, but as tests, opportunities to prove what matters most to you. The future belongs to those who refuse to negotiate with limitation. Stop asking if you can. Declare that you will. Stop wondering if it's possible. Make it inevitable through relentless action. Breakthroughs don't come to the fearless. They come to the determined, those who move forward despite fear. Between what you feel and what you do lies a space. And in that space, everything is decided. Most people react. The few who lead choose to respond. That space between feeling and action can be trained, stretched, and strengthened. Emotions are not commands, they are cues. You decide how to use them. Mastery means refusing to let the moment dictate your movement. You pause, you reflect, then you act. Emotional discipline is the foundation of lasting greatness. It's what made Harriet Tubman a liberator. Fear never vanished, but she refused to let it rule her. She walked into danger again and again because she knew what was at stake. She chose purpose over paralysis. You must make the same choice. The next time you feel like quitting, stop, breathe, and ask, who do I want to become? Then move in that direction. Reaction is easy. Response is power. Build that power. This sacred pause between stimulus and response is where your freedom lives. It's the difference between being driven by circumstance and leading your life with intention. The untrained mind reacts instantly, surrendering control to whatever emotion arises. The disciplined mind creates distance, observes the emotion, then chooses its action deliberately. Feelings are powerful messengers, but dangerous masters. Fear delivers information, not instructions. Frustration highlights problems, not solutions. Doubt raises questions, not answers. These emotions deserve acknowledgement, but never authority. The ability to separate what you feel from what you do is not weakness, it is sovereignty. You may not control everything that happens to you, but you always control how you respond. This is the essence of personal power. Think of water meeting an obstacle. It doesn't fight or flee. It flows around, adjusting without losing its nature or its destination. That is emotional mastery, not the absence of feeling, but adaptability within it. Society often mistakes impulsivity for authenticity and reactivity for passion. But true authenticity comes from aligning your actions with your deepest values, not your fleeting emotions. Real passion is sustained commitment to purpose, even when your feelings rise and fall. The greatest leaders in history weren't those who never felt fear, doubt, or discouragement. They were the ones who refused to let emotions dictate their actions. They created space between impulse and choice, between momentary feeling and meaningful decision. And this practice begins small. When anger rises, you pause before speaking. When anxiety appears, you breathe before deciding. When desire tempts, you reflect before indulging. Each pause strengthens the muscle of self-governance, expanding your capacity for emotional leadership. Your nervous system adapts to this training. The more you practice creating space between stimulus and response, the more natural it becomes. The emotions don't disappear, but your mastery grows stronger. In moments of highest pressure, that cultivated space becomes your greatest asset. While others are hijacked by reactivity, you keep clarity. While others speak words they regret, you speak with intention. While others make choices they later reverse, you decide in alignment with your vision. This isn't just a skill for crises, it's a way of living. It shapes how you respond to criticism, how you navigate conflict, how you face challenges, and how you seize opportunities. It ensures your life is not directed by the winds of circumstance, but by the steady hand of intention. The path to greatness isn't found in perfecting your circumstances, but in perfecting your responses to them. No achievement will matter if you remain a slave to emotional reactivity. No success will satisfy if you haven't mastered the space between feeling and action. Claim that space. Expand it. Live in it fully. Let it become the foundation of your power and the source of your freedom. In a world of reaction, choose response. In a culture of impulsivity, choose intention. And in moments that tempt surrender, choose sovereignty. When nothing seems to work, that's when most people walk away. But often, that is the exact moment when the shift is about to happen. The darkest hour always comes before dawn. If you quit now, you could be walking away from your harvest just one day too soon. The soil must break before anything grows. Delay doesn't mean denial, it means preparation. Your trial is sharpening tools you will need later. Success is not linear. It spirals, it stumbles, it hides, only to reappear with greater power. Keep showing up, even when you don't feel like it. Discipline must become your ritual. Every day you fight discouragement, you are forging your destiny. Helen Keller was born into silence and darkness. Yet through the relentless belief of her teacher and stubborn repetition, she unlocked a world of words. From nothing came everything. So don't measure your future by your frustration. Stay the course. It's working, even when it looks like it isn't. The moment of apparent failure often comes just before extraordinary breakthrough. Nature proves this truth again and again. The seed appears to rot before it sprouts. The butterfly must wrestle against the cocoon to strengthen its wings. The darkness grows deepest just before the light appears. Most people abandon ship right when the winds of transformation begin to stir. They misread resistance, not as the signal of breakthrough, but as evidence of defeat. and that misinterpretation costs them everything they've worked for. Progress rarely shows itself with immediate proof. It works quietly beneath the surface, invisible to the eye yet powerful in its unseen development. Think of bamboo, growing underground for years before suddenly shooting skyward. Your efforts are the same, silently accumulating until the moment of dramatic emergence. The greatest deception is believing that what you see now is all there will ever be. Your current results are not final verdicts. They are temporary readings, mere snapshots of a story still being written. The full measure of your journey cannot be judged by isolated moments of struggle. True character is tested not when progress is visible or rewards are immediate, but when effort feels futile and validation is absent. Anyone can persist when success seems near, but to continue when results are delayed, when doubt whispers, when feedback is nowhere to be found. That is what separates the extraordinary from the ordinary. Your willingness to endure the desert determines whether you will ever reach the promised land. Every great achievement has its wasteland season, the stretch where logic says to quit, but faith demands you keep going. This is where most people surrender, not realizing how close they were to transformation. What feels like stagnation is often integration, your mind and body absorbing new skills, new strength, and new capacity. The plateau that frustrates you is really the foundation being fortified for your next climb. Without this phase of consolidation, future growth would collapse under its own weight. The greatest leaders, innovators, and creators in history shared one trait. They kept going when logic said to stop. They held faith longer than doubt, vision beyond visible evidence. And they acted as if breakthrough wasn't just possible, it was inevitable. Persistence isn't only about reaching external goals. It's about becoming the kind of person who finishes what they start, who honors their commitments, who refuses to be defined by temporary setbacks. That internal transformation is the real reward, far more valuable than any trophy or title. Remember, frustration is feedback, not failure. It shows where to adjust, where to learn deeper, and where to refine your approach. Use it as information, not as a verdict on your worth or ability. The path to mastery is filled with apparent standstills that suddenly give way to leaps forward. Trust the process. Respect it. Keep showing up, especially when results feel distant or uncertain. The breakthrough you seek isn't behind you. It's waiting in the next step of faithful effort. Your future self is counting on you. Don't disappoint them. Stay the course. The awakening of greatness begins with recognizing it already lives within you. But like any treasure, it must be uncovered. Struggle is your shovel, consistency your chisel, and belief your light. If you don't dig, you'll never find it. If you don't believe, you'll never see it. Too many people look outward for validation, waiting for applause to confirm what they already know inside. But truth isn't born from applause, it comes from action. If you want the world's respect, show them through undeniable work. Andrew Carnegie proved this. An immigrant boy who started as a bobbin worker, he rose to dominate steel, philanthropy, and legacy. He wasn't born wealthy, he was born willing. Willing to learn, to persist, to become. And so must you. Greatness isn't chased, it's built. One disciplined day at a time, one step against the grain. The voice inside already knows the way. Are you listening? Greatness isn't something foreign. It's the purest expression of who you are. Like a sculptor who doesn't create the statue, but reveals it from the marble, your journey isn't about becoming someone else. It's about removing everything that hides your true potential. The obstacles you face aren't barriers. They are the very conditions required for greatness to emerge. Without resistance, there is no growth. Without challenge, no transformation. The struggles you fear are actually shaping the perfect path for your brilliance to shine. Society has conditioned you to seek validation from others before conviction within yourself. But that sequence is backward. The masters of history never waited for permission to be extraordinary. They proved their excellence first, and recognition followed. Greatness always came before fame, not the other way around. Your doubts aren't proof of limitation. They are passing thoughts, like clouds drifting across the sky, without weight unless you give them power. Learn to notice them without attachment. Acknowledge them without letting them define your capability. What holds most people back isn't lack of talent. It's lack of belief strong enough to overcome inertia. Belief is more than positive thinking. It's the unshakable conviction that drives action when progress feels slow, when critics are loud, when obstacles seem endless. This isn't delusion, it's vision. Every achievement in human history began as an unseen flame before it became visible reality. The skyscrapers that shape cities, the technologies that change lives, the art that stirs souls, each existed first as belief in someone's mind before becoming tangible. Your greatness follows the same law. The path to uncovering it isn't about gaining more, but removing the layers of doubt, fear, and false identity that have buried it. Every time you choose courage over comfort, discipline over distraction, and purpose over popularity, you chip away at the layers holding you back. Consistency may not be glamorous, but it is transformative. The daily commitment to show up, refine your craft, and face your fears compounds into undeniable proof of your strength. Greatness isn't created in dramatic moments, but in steady practice, often unseen. Your inner voice, quiet beneath the noise of doubt and distraction, already knows the way. It doesn't shout, it whispers. It doesn't demand, it invites. Learning to trust this guidance, even when it opposes conventional wisdom, is essential to manifesting your unique greatness. Your greatest contributions will never come from imitation, but from authenticity. Your blend of strengths, experiences, and passions is unrepeatable. The world doesn't need another copy. It needs your original. Greatness isn't measured against others, but by alignment with your highest potential. The real question isn't, am I better than them? It's, am I becoming the fullest version of myself? That shift turns competition into creation and envy into inspiration. Trust the process, honor the journey, and embrace the discipline of building. Your greatness isn't waiting somewhere else. It's awakening within you now, with every choice aligned to your deepest truth. The fire refining every setback carries a message. Most retreat too soon, mistaking resistance for rejection. But if you stay in the fire long enough, it will not destroy you. It will define you. Steel is forged in flame. Your struggle isn't proof of failure. It's proof you're becoming. Every setback etches wisdom into your soul, and wisdom is true wealth. Growth is sustained by reflecting, refining, and rising again. Failure isn't final. It's feedback that shapes your future. Benjamin Disraeli was mocked, ignored, even hissed out of Parliament. Yet he returned, sharpened his message, and became one of Britain's greatest prime ministers. He could have quit after humiliation, but he knew one truth: those who endure will rise. Will you? The deepest lessons rarely arrive in comfort. They come wrapped in disappointment, packaged in rejection, and delivered through pain. These unwelcome messengers carry wisdom pleasure cannot provide, if you're willing to receive them instead of running. Setbacks speak a language few dare to learn. They reveal weaknesses that need strengthening, blind spots needing light, and approaches demanding refinement. When you translate failure from defeat into development, everything shifts. Not just your results, but your identity. What looks like an obstacle is often opportunity in disguise. The rejection that blocks your path may actually be redirecting you to a better one. The failure that feels like an ending is often just clearing space for a stronger beginning. But these truths remain hidden until you look beyond disappointment. Many abandon the very experiences meant to transform them, misreading difficulty as proof they're on the wrong path, instead of preparation for something greater. This misinterpretation robs them of life's most valuable education. Remember, diamonds aren't formed in comfort, but under crushing pressure sustained over time. The same forces that seem destructive are, in truth, creative, producing strength and value beyond measure. Your challenges work the same way when embraced instead of escaped. The difference between those who simply endure hardship and those who grow from it lies in reflection. Many suffer without studying, hurt without harvesting the lessons buried inside pain. Don't waste your wounds. Let them teach you. The ability to turn setbacks into strategy, obstacles into opportunity, and failures into future success isn't natural. It's developed through practice. Each time you choose learning over lamenting, adjustment over abandonment, you strengthen that vital skill. History's most impactful figures weren't those who avoided failure, but those who turned it into fuel for achievement. Their greatness wasn't built on talent alone, but on tenacity, the willingness to rise when others fell, to learn what others ignored, to keep going when surrender seemed logical. The quality of your life isn't defined by the absence of difficulty, but by how you respond to it. Two people can face the same challenge, yet walk away with completely different outcomes. One bitter, the other better. One broken, the other built. The difference isn't in what happened, but in what they chose to do with it. When you see failure as education instead of indictment, you transform what could break you into what will build you. This shift doesn't erase the pain, but it gives that pain a purpose, turning meaningless suffering into meaningful strength. Real wisdom isn't passed through theories, it's forged through lived experience. The lessons that change your life won't come mainly from books or lectures, but from struggles endured, processed, and applied. Your hardships aren't just testing your character, they're creating it. Stay in the refining fire. Let it strip away what's non-essential, forge what's fundamental, and transform potential into power. Endurance may never guarantee comfort, but it delivers something greater, a capacity earned, never gifted. This is the silent path of greatness. In the quiet corners of ambition, where effort goes unseen and applause is absent, true character is revealed. When you feel invisible, when your work seems swallowed by indifference, that is the ultimate test of resolve. Most crave recognition before they've earned it. They depend on validation like oxygen and wither without it. But greatness follows a very different path. One walked in silence, without spotlights or applause. Not yet, at least. Each day, you face the same choice. Continue when no one is watching, or surrender to the tempting whisper of why bother. It's easy to abandon your post when no audience cheers, when the silence feels louder than your effort. Yet in these hidden hours, your true self is shaped, one decision at a time. Consistency in the dark reveals more about character than any performance under bright lights. You keep going not because someone counts your steps, but because the work itself is transforming you. Every day you show up, whether noticed or not, you carve away at the marble of potential, revealing the masterpiece within. Move through each moment as if the world itself is watching. Act with certainty that today's unseen effort builds tomorrow's undeniable results. The real question isn't whether the spotlight will find you. It's whether you'll have something worth showing when it does. Marie Curie proved this truth. In a modest, poorly ventilated shed, she worked with dangerous radioactive materials that slowly poisoned her body. Society offered little encouragement, and many dismissed her as no more than her husband's assistant. Yet she persisted through obscurity and skepticism. Her hands, exposed daily to radium, would glow faintly at night, a haunting reminder of her sacrifice. But those same hands changed the future of medicine and nuclear physics forever. She didn't wait for validation before committing fully to her work. Her belief in the importance of her research carried her through years of unnoticed toil. Your situation may look different, but the principle remains the same. The effort you invest when no one applauds plants seeds that will one day break through the soil of indifference. Persistence, even when recognition feels impossible, lays the foundation on which your future will stand. The value of your work isn't lessened by the absence of witnesses. The strength of your character isn't measured by how many eyes are watching. Both are real, powerful, and independent of outside validation. Your task is simple but not easy: to last, to endure the silence long enough for your seeds to sprout, to keep moving through the fog until the horizon clears. Can you trust that invisibility is temporary, but impact is permanent? Will you persevere long enough to see your own blooming? That single question, and your answer, changes everything. The battlefield within your mind is the true battlefield. And the first enemy is always self-doubt. Left unchecked, it whispers that you're not enough, not ready, not worthy. But none of that is truth. You were born with gifts, placed here with purpose, and the road to unlocking that purpose is paved with courage, not comfort. In the silent chambers of your thoughts, a war rages daily. There are no witnesses, yet its outcome shapes everything visible in your life. This conflict between fear and courage, between doubt and belief, defines who you become far more than any external circumstance ever will. Self-doubt moves like fog through your mind, clouding perception and twisting reality. Its whispers often sound logical, even protective. Wait until you're more prepared. Someone else could do this better. You'll only embarrass yourself if you try. Left unchecked, These thoughts grow from whispers to shouts, drowning out the quiet voice of your true potential. But doubt only has power when you choose to believe it. The moment you see it for what it is, not wisdom, but fear disguised as reason, its authority crumbles. You silence doubt not with perfect thoughts, but with decisive action. Every small step forward dismantles its grip. Each risk taken rewires your mind, teaching courage to be your default, not fear. Belief isn't something you're born with fully formed. It's built through repetition. The discipline of showing up daily, especially when motivation fades, slowly turns skepticism into certainty. Your identity is forged not by what you occasionally do, but by what you consistently become. Consider Booker T. Washington. Born into slavery, he had every reason to accept limitation. The world offered him no encouragement, no advantages, no clear path forward. Yet from those beginnings rose a man who transformed education and lifted thousands toward opportunity. His journey began not with favorable conditions, but with one decision: to believe his future could hold possibilities his past had never suggested. He studied in stolen moments after exhausting labor. He walked 500 miles to attend Hampton Institute. Later, he built Tuskegee Institute from the ground up, teaching students to make the very bricks that became their classrooms. Washington refused to let history define him. Instead, he chose to believe in what he could become, and in doing so, he changed not only his own life, but the course of American education itself. Can you make the same pivotal choice? Can you believe your future holds more than your past suggests? This isn't blind optimism. It's strategic vision, the ability to see beyond limitations into possibilities not yet realized. Doubt will never vanish completely. Even Washington faced uncertainty throughout his remarkable life. But moving forward in spite of doubt silences its power. Your commitment to act will always speak louder than anxious thoughts. The true battlefield isn't around you. It's within your own mind. Victory doesn't demand perfect confidence. It requires courage to take one more step when doubt urges retreat. Choose action, build belief, shape your identity through consistency, and let the battlefield of your mind become the training ground for your greatest contributions. If you wait to feel ready, you'll wait forever. Readiness is not a feeling, it's a decision. You don't need perfect conditions. You need a reason stronger than your excuses. The gap between where you are and where you aspire to be is rarely crossed by preparation alone. The successful move while afraid. They act before confidence arrives, because confidence follows action, not the other way around. That flutter in your stomach, that tightness in your chest, these aren't signals to retreat. They're proof you're pushing boundaries, stepping into growth where comfort cannot go. The sensations of fear and excitement feel almost identical. The only difference is how you choose to interpret them. You become what you repeatedly dare to do. Each bold step reshapes your self-image, slowly turning "I could never" into "I already have." Identity shifts not through endless contemplation, but through demonstration. Stop bargaining with hesitation. Start acting with conviction. Hesitation disguises itself as wisdom, but it delivers only stagnation. It promises safety while stealing opportunity. Think of the Wright brothers, just bicycle mechanics with no engineering degrees, no institutional support, no safety net. Yet, while others obsessed over engines, Wilbur and Orville solved the real problem: control. They risked ridicule, injury, and financial ruin. They crashed again and again, mocked by experts and dismissed by the press. But because they kept refining, testing, and moving forward without certainty, they made history at Kitty Hawk on a cold December morning in 1903. So what's your excuse? Too busy? Not enough resources? Afraid of failing? The Wright brothers faced all of these and more. What made them extraordinary wasn't freedom from obstacles, but their refusal to be defined by them. You don't need to be fearless. You only need to be willing. Willingness, not perfection, is the true requirement for meaningful progress. What would happen if you acted today? Not after another course, not when conditions improve, but with what you have right now. The real question isn't whether you're ready, it's whether you're willing. Most people overestimate what can be done in a week and underestimate what can be done in 5 years. They chase quick wins and ignore the power of compound effort. Success isn't a spark, it's a slow, steady burn. In a culture obsessed with overnight success, we've forgotten the real architecture of achievement. You build greatness the same way you build muscle, through repetition, strain, recovery, and repeat. There are no shortcuts, no magic formulas, only the steady accumulation of effort. The real game is endurance. While many chase the thrill of new beginnings, the truly successful embrace the monotony of continuance. You show up daily not because it's glamorous, but because it's necessary. When motivation fades, discipline takes over. When results feel invisible, faith sustains you. And in time, the world notices. Not because you demanded attention, but because you earned it through the quiet dignity of persistence. What others call sudden success is simply the visible phase of work begun long ago in obscurity. Take James J. Hill. He wasn't born a railroad tycoon. He started as a clerk, then a shipping agent, learning freight and commerce from the ground up. With no wealthy backers or political ties, he slowly assembled what became the Great Northern Railway. Brick by brick, he built a transcontinental empire. He studied terrain to find the most efficient routes. He inspected sites himself. He developed settlements along the tracks to ensure lasting growth. Not overnight, but over decades of patient building. In the beginning, no one clapped. Yet by the end, the nation moved on his rails. His Great Northern was the only transcontinental railroad built without government subsidies, and the only one to avoid bankruptcy. Your work today is not small. It's the foundation of a future masterpiece. The simple tasks you execute with care and consistency become tomorrow's empire. The spreadsheet you analyze, the prototype you refine, the content you create. These aren't just tasks to finish. They're investments compounding in value. The real question is, will you keep laying bricks when no one is watching? Will you press on when progress feels invisible? Greatness isn't about possibility. It's about whether your patience can match your ambition. The urge to quit is strongest right before the reward. That's no accident. It's a test. Life wants to know how badly you want it. In the final stretch, fatigue screams louder, doubts cut deeper, and shortcuts seem more tempting. Your mind, craving comfort, whispers, "You've done enough. No one will blame you for stopping. You can always try again later." But those whispers are the last guardians before breakthrough. This is not the moment to pull back. It's the time to lock in, sharpen your resolve, and recognize that discomfort is proof you're close, not far. Momentum is your greatest ally. Physics reminds us, a body in motion stays in motion. It takes far less energy to continue than to restart. Even one small step forward is proof that obstacles haven't won. The closer you get, the more resistance you feel, not because you're weak, but because you're near. That's the pattern of achievement. Gold endures the hottest flame before it's purified. A marathoner hits the wall around mile 20. Businesses meet their hardest tests not at launch, but right before breakthrough. Push through and stay alert. Anchor to purpose, not to discomfort or shifting emotions. Remember why you began and who you're becoming along the way. During America's bleakest winter, Thomas Paine wrote, "These are the times that try men's souls." As desertions rose and defeat loomed, his words rallied those on the edge. He didn't quit when the battle turned. He doubled down, and freedom followed. That principle is alive in your daily choices. The intimidating presentation, the hard conversation, the habit you're still trying to build. These are your battlegrounds. This is the final stretch. Don't slow down when ease calls your name. Dig deeper. Find the reserves you didn't know you had. What waits beyond resistance isn't just achievement, it's transformation. You become someone new by finishing what a lesser version of you would abandon. The necessary resistance. Nothing meaningful is built without it. Resistance isn't your enemy, it's your training partner. The more it pushes, the stronger you get. Most misread resistance as a stop sign. It isn't. It's proof you're building something real. Muscles only grow when they work against opposition. Without resistance, there's no adaptation, no growth, no evolution of capacity. You lift more only by pressing against heavier weight. Life works the same way. When obstacles appear, when doors close, when critics surface, when progress slows, these aren't signals to retreat. They're invitations to break through. The friction you feel isn't proof you're on the wrong path. It's confirmation that you're attempting something bold enough to create opposition. You level up through struggle. Each challenge becomes a catalyst for growth that comfort could never provide. That racing heartbeat before a presentation, the project that stretches you, the conversation demanding real courage. These are the moments shaping you. Resistance transforms you more than ease ever could. Stay consistent, and every rep rewires you, not in an instant, but gradually, cell by cell, choice by choice. You become someone who sees obstacles not as barriers, but as the building blocks of progress. Clara Barton faced unrelenting resistance while founding the American Red Cross. Officials dismissed her vision. Donors doubted its value. Even healthcare advocates questioned her. For years, she faced rejection, skepticism, and opposition. Yet resistance sharpened her. It refined her message, strengthened her resolve, and taught her persistence. She adapted, persisted, and turned the impossible into inevitable. By 1881, her vision became reality, and more than a century later, her organization still saves lives. So don't fear the friction. Don't resent resistance. Welcome it. See it as the counterforce that makes ambition worthwhile, the very pressure that gives meaning to achievement. Without resistance, success feels hollow, growth stalls, and potential stays dormant. The path of least resistance only leads to unremarkable destinations. But the road marked by challenge, when embraced instead of avoided, leads to lasting significance. It shapes your next level, even when the shore is hidden. When motivation fades, it isn't failure, it's feedback. It's a signal to revisit your why, to reconnect with the fire that first fueled your journey. Too often we mistake fading emotion for fading purpose, but emotions pass. Conviction endures. The excitement of a new business, a relationship, or a fitness goal always cools with time. That doesn't mean you've chosen wrong. It's simply the rhythm of sustained effort. The true test is leading yourself when you feel nothing. That's discipline. Anyone can move forward when inspired. The exceptional keep moving when inspiration is gone. They know that meaning doesn't always come with feeling, and purpose outlasts passion. Motivation isn't reignited by waiting, it's sparked by action. Motivation isn't the starting point, it's the result of movement. Take one step, then another. Even the smallest action creates momentum, and momentum makes the next step easier. Energy is born from doing, never from waiting. Florence Chadwick proved this truth. She swam the English Channel multiple times, becoming a symbol of endurance. But in 1952, while attempting to swim from Catalina Island to the California coast, she stopped just short of victory. Fog had hidden the shore. Later, she learned she was less than a mile away, under an hour from triumph. The next attempt, she changed her approach. She held the vision of the shore in her mind, so vividly that even the fog couldn't stop her. That time, she finished strong, setting a new record. Your own shore may be hidden in the fog of fatigue, doubt, or setbacks. But just because you can't see it doesn't mean it isn't there. Hold the image. Keep swimming. Move forward, not because you feel inspired every moment, but because you're anchored in conviction. Let conviction carry you when emotions fade. Trust the shore exists, and know each stroke, no matter how small, brings you closer. The words you speak to yourself in those quiet moments will become the script you live by. If your inner dialogue is filled with doubt, you'll hesitate. If it's filled with belief, you'll act boldly. In the quiet of your mind, a constant narrative is shaping your choices, coloring your perspective, and setting the limits of what you believe is possible. These inner conversations aren't just mirrors of reality. They are architects of it. The language you use with yourself doesn't just describe your world, it directs it. You must become your own coach, your own advocate. The world already has enough critics. Don't add their voices inside your head. Replace "I can't" with "I will figure it out." Shift from "I'm not ready" to "I'm preparing." These aren't word games, but powerful redirections of mental energy that turn obstacles into opportunities. Your words carry weight. Use them with intention. Tell yourself this is impossible, and you've already chosen the ending. Ask instead, how might this be possible? And you awaken creativity instead of limitation. The questions you ask yourself will decide the answers you uncover. William Wilberforce knew this truth. He fought the British slave trade against overwhelming odds, introducing abolition bills year after year, only to face defeat, ridicule, and resistance from powerful interests. Yet he kept speaking vision into his heart. I am not born for a little corner. That belief fueled decades of relentless effort. And after 20 years of rejection, the Slave Trade Act finally passed in 1807. By the time of his death in 1833, Wilberforce had witnessed the complete abolition of slavery throughout the British Empire. Your inner dialogue must become your armor. Guard it fiercely against limiting beliefs, comparison, and borrowed doubts. Strengthen it with deliberate practice, replacing negativity with conviction. The battle for your future is fought in the arena of your mind. Every thought, every word you tell yourself either strengthens your resolve or weakens it. There is no neutral ground. Your inner voice is either expanding or shrinking your possibilities. Speak the future you want into being, not through wishful thinking, but with the awareness that belief drives achievement, vision directs action, and the voice within shapes the world outside. Every transformation begins with a decision. Not a plan, not the perfect moment, but a simple refusal to remain the same. That decision is the turning point, and from it, the path begins to unfold. Most lives remain unchanged, not from lack of ability, but from indecision. We circle possibilities, overanalyzing, mistaking contemplation for progress. The truly transformed take cleaner breaks with the past. Their choices cut through hesitation and create momentum. You don't need clarity for 10 steps ahead, only courage for the next one. The terrain beyond your comfort zone reveals itself not to the cautious, but to the committed. Each step forward uncovers what was once invisible. Don't wait to feel qualified. Decide to become qualified. Don't wait for permission. Grant it to yourself. Authority is rarely given. It's claimed through bold decisions and relentless follow-through. The line between achievers and dreamers isn't talent or luck. It's the willingness to begin before feeling ready. Milton Hershey failed with 3 candy businesses before ever building his empire. His first venture in Philadelphia collapsed after 6 years. His attempt in Chicago ended even faster. In New York, another defeat awaited. Each failure drained his resources and credibility, yet he chose, again and again, not to stop. Even after his third collapse, when creditors and family urged him to pursue something more practical, he refused. Instead, he made the decision that defined his legacy, starting the Lancaster Caramel Company, which became the launching pad for Hershey's chocolate. That single choice transformed repeated failures into an enduring empire and sweetened the world. So, what decision are you delaying? What clarity are you waiting for that only action can bring? What permission are you hoping for that only you can grant? Let your decision shape the next chapter. Plans without action remain fantasies. Decisions, even without perfect plans, create reality. Boldness unlocks the doors fear tries to shut. Decide who you are today, not who you might become someday. Then prove it daily through consistent action that aligns with that choice. Transformation doesn't begin when conditions are perfect. It begins when your decision becomes final. So decide now to keep fighting, even when every part of you wants to flee. Choose grit. Choose fire. Choose to endure until victory is yours. This is your turning point. Claim it. Don't delay. Your future is waiting for your courage. Wishing you health, happiness, and remember to subscribe to my channel, Mindset Daily.